what's in your wallet. I got that fire. I got that fire. I got that fire. Fire, fire, fire. I got that fire.
Chocolate City. Chocolate City. It's a song, baby. It's a song. I'm a chocolate city. It's a song,
Yes, y'all. What it do? Welcome to the show. It is another episode of the Big Black Sports Show. I am your man, 50 Grand Kevin Barnes, the militant with a microphone, the mouthpiece of the movement, aka the hip hop snob, aka the Negro Whisperer. Live from the north side of the mill. What's good? I'm not alone. I got my partner with me. Coach Tank, what it do, baby?
What's going on, bro?
Holding on like a hubcap in the fast lane.
I feel you.
What's good with you, bro?
Man, enjoying myself, man. Had a busy weekend.
Okay.
But hey, ready to chop it up. It's Tuesday. You know what time it is. Time to
That's
talk
right.
sports.
That's right, man. It's time for us to talk sports on the People's Network. If you tuned in last night to Outlaw Radio, shout out to you. If you'll be tuning in tomorrow night for Outlaw Radio again. And then I don't know if I'm going to do Outlaw Nation this week. I don't know. I have a special guest tomorrow for Outlaw Radio. I want to tip that off. I just try to promote Milwaukee, and I try to promote Milwaukee talent. Anybody up here who's doing something great, positive, or progressive, holla at your boy. 262-202-5131. But yeah, so I'll have a special guest tomorrow. And who knows, man, Thursday, sometimes I get the itch, right? I get the itch to be on the microphone. So I'll jump on here and do what I do, talk a little shit for a couple hours. Hell, I own the machine. I might as well keep it on. So I see some sports shows popping up out there now. I see some home products. I see some cats doing now. They're coming up with internet radio shows and whatnot like that. So that's good, man. I like to say we were first. Just don't forget that. You know, we are not obviously not the only sports show, but in terms of what we do here as content creators and social media and whatnot from Milwaukee, we were first. We jumped on it first, and you know, wrong with nobody else doing it. I'm not the only motherfucker that knows something about sports. Speaking of sports, why do we talk about sports? It's very important. Tank, I want you to tell me why you think sports is important for brothers, because you know sometimes we be talking about some shit. People say, "This shit don't mean nothing." They talking about something meaningless. Why you think sports is important to discuss?
Because the black man is naturally athletic.
Okay.
You know, I think we're just born, you know, to be athletic. You know, to express ourselves athletically, and you know, and it shows. You know, it's obvious.
Okay. And I always talk about the connection between sports and what goes on in American society. We know racially, you know, there's nothing in our country that's not directly affected by race, racism, discrimination, segregation. Sometimes it's a story of triumph. Sometimes it's a poor kid who's underserved coming from a horrible community, and he or she gets to elevate and break the cycle. But if in the meantime and in between time, you see a lot of what goes on in our society in terms of race relations, you see this play out in sports. You see same policies apply, same double jeopardy, you know, same double standard. More often than not, when we're talking about how athletes are being judged or you know, analyzed. And so like that leads me into what I want to talk about first. But like I said, man, our schedule is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't expect you to listen to every show, even though I love myself. Like T.O. say, I love me some me. I could be a bit much sometimes. So just pick two. Pick Monday and Wednesday. Pick, you know, Tuesday and Thursday. Say these are the ones I'm going to support. It's very important that we support each other, and it's very important that you support us. Because if not, then why are we doing this, right? Don't get me wrong. I talk to myself all the time. Sometimes I even respond. I don't even know if that's bad. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about sports, man. Check us out. Check one of our shows out. Shout out to Kamar Carter. Shout out to my boy Rail. Shout out to Courtney Francois. Right. And, everybody who's been on the show, man. Shout out to Trav Two from the hood who was on with me last week. Young comedian from here trying to do his thing. I support that, man. That's what I'm saying, man. Intentional solidarity, baby. We ain't hiding the fact that we working together, right? We stand together in your face. We all on code. We all on the one. But so I was talking about, I want to jump into it, right? Like, no further ado, right? But so I want to jump because I saw, something that stood out for me this past weekend. It was the topic of Ben Simmons, right? Who plays for now the Brooklyn Nets. Okay. And so there's a lot of criticism about Ben Simmons. And I made a joke when they traded Ben Simmons to Brooklyn from Philadelphia, and it would be him and Kyrie. I said, this is going to be the all special needs team. You got and I was joking about the shit, right? Like, because he's stated that he's had some mental health issues. And I believe they real, because I don't believe I'd like $20 million, $25 million, $30 million. We all say, man, I'd be doing this for that money. Obviously there's something there, right? And like, so this back injury, and so basically Brooklyn really got nothing out of this trade. Right. So at least Philadelphia had, Harden did bring something. So let's start with that. Let's talk about and Stephen A. Smith was very, very harsh on his criticism of Ben Simmons, and a lot of other sports analysts were too. But then Jamie Foxx had a problem with what Stephen A. said, and I thought they was all in one tribe, you know what I mean? But so let's talk about that, man. What do you think about Ben Simmons?
Well, yeah, he was the terrible end of the trade. He didn't produce at all for the Nets for the playoffs, man. So it really hurt them. But that was their only problem. Kyrie missed half of the season. That was a big problem for them. But Ben Simmons, man, I don't even know if he's a good fit for the Nets anyway. He's a big point guard. Kyrie is a point guard. Kyrie doesn't strike me as being a catch and shoot player. He's usually off the dribble. So how would that have meshed anyway? And you're right, man. Ben Simmons does have a history of mental, I don't want to say breakdowns, but mental incidents, I guess, to where he's had to sit. I think he had an incident in college. So, and that's not a knock against him. It's just that I don't even think he's a good fit for the Nets right now. I think they need to try to make a move and get rid of him. Their season was pretty much in the can about 20, 30 games ago, man.
Yeah, but I think it's unfair to put it all on Ben Simmons or even Kyrie. I mean, listen, that's two players out of that whole team, and you do have Kevin Durant, who struggled in this last series in which they got swept, right? So the trade that they pulled off to bring Harden and Kyrie on last year didn't work, obviously, because Harden got hurt and Kyrie got hurt.
Right.
KD almost pulled it off, but nobody remembers the first loser. Nobody remembers who was in second place. So the Bucks, we watched the Bucks be able to get past them because of that. So it never worked. And then this year, obviously, Harden and Kyrie had some friction there, which is something else we're going to talk about. And so there was a trade, and Simmons came on. Now, once again, if you knew that he had some mental health issues and you still made the trade, I don't know that you could really blame him.
Right.
I will say that above and beyond all of this stuff, basketball included, I would hope that he gets the help that he needs. And that he don't, because a lot of times, and you don't know if it's depression, you don't know if it's anxiety, you don't know what it is. And by somebody like Stephen A. Smith coming out really shitting on him in the press, and that might put more pressure. You could trigger this dude. He might go somewhere and do something to us. So you got to fall back with, just because somebody makes a lot of money is what I'm getting at, doesn't give you the right to disrespect him. I don't give a damn if they playing basketball or making records or making movies. Just because I make a lot of money don't mean you get to shit on me. So, I think Stephen A. went a little too
right. But at the same time, he's got to be able to accept some harsh criticism because he did not produce. I think they were expecting him to be ready by the playoffs. You do not make that trade if you're not expecting him to be ready by the playoffs. You don't make that trade if he's not going to play for the rest of the year. So
Right.
he disappointed a lot of people. So a lot of people should be upset with his ass, especially Steve Nash, because he's the one that's taking a lot of the fallout.
Steve Nash, but see, Steve Nash can't really be mad at nobody because he didn't. First of all, you got to understand that they have a lot of money invested in their bench as well. Where's Blake Griffin? Blake Griffin was lights out against the Bucks last year in the playoffs. I don't know. I wasn't able to keep up with him during the regular season this year, but
Blake is
where was he
older
at?
now. Blake is older now.
Get from
His
the
knees are bad. He can't jump anymore. You know what I'm saying? Blake's a non-factor. Really,
especially if he don't play, if you don't put him in the game.
With the three that they were counting on, Kyrie, KD, and Ben Simmons didn't show up. They didn't show up. Well, I take that back because Kyrie was lighting the Celtics ass up.
And Durant had 39. Durant had 39 points in the last game.
They had a couple of games where individually they were on fire, but it just wasn't enough.
I mean, they got to go back to the drawing board. It didn't work out like they thought it was. I know when I heard about that trade, I was like, wow, this is going to be a powerhouse, but it just didn't work out. So once again, I think we live in a society right now where the media is everything. Social media, news moves at the speed of light right now. Like it comes right to your fingertips. And when you put a narrative on somebody, or you label somebody, or you speak ill against that person, yeah, you think it's just lip service, but you don't know on the other end how it's affecting that dude. Now, I do believe that Ben Simmons, as a professional athlete, should be able to take harsh criticism. Right. But I don't believe he should have to take disrespect, and especially if he's dealing with something. Remember our motto on here: it's okay not to be okay. Because you could look at him and say, you got all this money, all this fame, and all this, and you this big time athlete, and you say, are you okay? If he turn to you and say, no, man, I'm not okay, you gonna say, man, something wrong, something is wrong with you, instead of saying, that's okay, brother, let's figure out what it is. And so, I just think Stephen A does what he does, though. He's that's his thing. Like I've even, it's funny because I'd be watching Stephen A. Smith sometimes, and my wife will be like coming in from the next room, like, is he not annoying to you? And I'm like, I'm used to Stephen A's kind of his bellows now, but I also was very critical of Stephen A until I peeped that when he got rid of Max Kellerman, he brought all brothers in. Michael Irvin and all Stephen A. he brought the brothers in. So at first I was like, oh, why you do Max Kellerman? And I was like, nah, that's cool. I mean, he's the top dog, so he made a move. I told y'all I always cheer for black people. I don't care. I don't care if it's a pissing contest. Black people, I'm like this. But yeah, man. But they got swept, and I think Steve Nash. See, this is the thing about sports. It take everybody to lose. It's easy to point the finger, man. If so and so had did this or that, did it. It takes everybody to lose, right? Like so. I think once again, I think that the blame is enough to go around. I think the GMs need, because they drag itch. They got a bunch of dudes on. They got a bunch of ball players, man.
Yeah, they do.
I just feel like the blame got to go around, and Steve Smith is getting that good old white privilege, because if he was a brother, he'd have been, his ass would have been working at Pick and Save last year, right? Like, so we already know that.
But I mean, considering everything, he deserves another shot. He's at least one more year. Okay, he deserves another shot, man. He deserves. If they keep Kyrie, if they don't trade him, hopefully he'll be able to play a full season instead of what. He couldn't play home games, right? He refused to play home games because of the shot.
Because of the COVID, right? Which we can't all, and some of y'all out there, because I was anti the jug too. I didn't want the jug, and I had COVID, and I was like, I didn't want the jug, right? Like, so, but that's another situation where I guess was that the source of his issues with Harden, in which that Harden had a problem with him kind of being not all in. Like, was that the issue?
That could have been an issue. I think it was. I think it was one of the issues Harden had.
As much as I like Harden, I think Harden got to look at himself like, as good as you are, look how many teams you've actually played for. It's the same thing with Westbrook. I just really used to love Westbrook. Like, man, this dude got so many skills. Like, but then I started looking at it like, well, this dude is like a pretty girl who done been with like 9-10 different relationships, right? Like, you're starting to be the common denominator here. Like, right? Why don't nobody want to go with you? So
Right. Something
I
is
don't know,
wrong.
but I don't know if maybe Harden was, but Harden got hurt last year, so he can't really. We can say I was injured. You wasn't. You just didn't want to take this shot. That's personal.
Right.
That's that COVID thing, man. That's that controversy we had about the COVID, which it became divisive. That shot became, whether somebody wants that shot or not, or that became divisive in our community, man. So
Yeah.
and it
But I
ain't no
mean,
NBA.
and that decision, right or wrong, it affected that team because he wasn't there. The chemistry, you know what I'm saying?
That's what they saying, yeah.
The
Yeah,
chemistry,
chemistry. Yeah.
and like I said, you want to see how is that going to work? Him and Ben Simmons on the floor together.
Right. Well, like I said, I mean, I think because the problem is when you put three players together who shoot a lot, it's hard to have all three of them consistently playing well because somebody got to get the ball in their hands more than somebody else. Durant needs to shoot the ball. Kyrie doesn't play. He wasn't really functioning as a point. He's playing like a two, basically. So he's the shooter. He's playing off guard. So he has to have a certain amount of shots. The ball has to be in his hand. So if you add Ben Simmons, and of course he brings defense. He's a big body. People don't understand the significance of a 6'10" point guard. But he's a scorer too. His offensive skills are pretty good, right? Can't shoot free throws, obviously.
Right. Very similar to Magic when he first came into the league. Very similar.
I think Magic was a little bit more polished though.
Magic improved as he developed the jump shot. He improved his free percentage. He had the same issues that Ben Simmons had. They said he couldn't shoot. Magic couldn't shoot. Shit. When Magic got better, he worked on his game. He got better. Ben Simmons, he's got a chance. But when are we going to see the potential?
I don't know, man. Take some people longer than it take others. Now the Bucks, it's looking like the Bucks are gonna have to play the Celtics, right? Like so. Right.
Hey, nobody said it gets easier.
Look,
nobody said it gets easier, man. Hey,
you want another one? If you want another championship, this is what you got to do. And that's just to get out of the East, right? Like so. You'd still have to play somebody in the Eastern Conference Finals and then beat somebody really good in the NBA Finals, which unless this Booker thing is, deeper than we think, I thought it would be Phoenix, but I don't know. That series still going on, right? Like, so they still kind of
tied 2 up. Pelicans.
Okay.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised with the Pelicans.
Got to play the game, baby. You got to play it. You can have all the talent you want, have all the horses you want in the stable. You're gonna have to play the game, right? Like so, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough for the Bucks. But people say, well, Grayson Allen is looking good. I'm just skeptical of the Bucks. They just haven't shown. Now, don't get me wrong. First game against Chicago, I thought they came out well, but then they cooled off. Chicago almost came back, right? Second game, obviously they lost. They just whooped them. They whooped them basically. Yeah. They put them out, right? But I mean. They didn't look like, and I don't know if this had more to do with DeRozan, but it just looked like I was like, man. But people forget too. At what point the Bulls was in the first in the East? They was pretty good at one point. They just kind of faded away.
Now, Game 5 is Tuesday, right? I mean, on Wednesday, right?
They already won. No, okay. So they got to play one more.
Yeah, one more. But you might as well stick a fork in them, man.
I don't know. I don't have my confidence. I don't,
They're not taking they're not taking one in Milwaukee.
They took one already in Milwaukee.
Huh?
They took one already in Milwaukee.
Was it? Well, no, that last game was Chicago. I mean,
no,
they're not taking it anymore in Milwaukee. I'm sure of that.
All right.
I'm sure of that.
Right.
I'm sure of that. They're done. I'm looking forward to the Celtics, dude. I'm looking forward to the Celtics.
I don't think the Bucks can beat the Celtics.
Who do we got to hold Jason Tatum?
That's what I'm saying. They have a lot of dudes who they play so well as a team. And they have some young dynamic players who can put the ball
young. Yep.
So I don't see the Bucks being, you know, I don't see the Bucks being able to beat them. I think the Bucks are a player away, and like we need a game changer in Milwaukee. Something big has to happen. Like somebody got to come and commit to play with Giannis, a big time somebody. Like we got to get another real bona fide superstar, and we can package up Middleton, and a draft pick and throw it at him and say, man, let us get this. And I think we be one player away.
How do you package 9 months of winter? 9 months of winter, liquor stores close at 9.
Hey, shit, I tell you,
at 9.
I tell you what, you could look at it like that. You could say, well, it's cold there, so I'm not gonna play there. But if you're gonna say, okay, but I'll take less than a supermax check to go and play in Miami, right? Like you could do that, and a lot of players do. But it's some player who's a veteran enough, who's been good enough to know winning ain't a given. So it ain't really about it being cold. I'm going there to win another ring with Giannis, who is in his prime. So you possibly with the right set of players, there's 2 or 3 more championships left for Giannis that he can possibly pursue. You would want to be a part of that. Or can you just have a good time in Miami? Drink Mai Tais and shit. Drink Moet on the beach. Like, right. I don't know.
Great weather.
The heat ain't good, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm using Miami as kind of like, okay, but you gonna go to the Lakers, or you gonna go to the Clippers? Like, because if you go to New York, it's cold, right? Like, if you go, who else is good? Well, Golden State is foggy and it's foggy and cold sometimes. That's not LA. It's sunnier than here, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, but that's the only thing that I can see that will help the Bucks get another championship is if some big name, because I don't think okay, so the youngsters we got, do you think Grayson Allen is going to turn into a big enough asset to say, okay, we can get rid of Middleton now? I don't think so either. So I'm just thinking out loud about that. When people say Bucks again, I'm like, nah. Unless we don't know how this goes, because we might find ourselves back here in a couple of weeks talking about this. It takes one wrong move for somebody to get hurt, right? Like, so.
Well, I mean, case in point, Chris Middleton. He's been out and the team's been playing better. For some reason, when somebody gets hurt, this team steps up and they play better. They play harder. So I like what the veterans bring to this team this year. And I always said that we just need a couple of goons on the squad, you know what I'm saying, to handle the dirty work, and we'll be fine. We got Grayson Allen. We got Ibaka. Portis is a goon.
What is going on with Ibaka? Is he even he's doing garbage time? I thought he would have been like a factor by now. That trade, I don't know. How's that trade for the Bucks, right? I don't know how that's
they throw him in when they need those hard fouls.
Okay.
They throw him in when they need those hard fouls and need them on defensive rebounding, playing some defense. But
so you just got him to take fouls?
No, to play defense. Ibaka's a strong defender.
Okay.
Strong defender, and he's a goon down there.
I don't see him in the game, though.
This playoff basketball, it's rough down there now in the post, in the paint.
I don't see him playing.
But
I'm looking at the game. I'm like, where's Ibaka?
I just saw him didn't he play in the last game?
It was up about 50.
I've seen him a couple of times in the playoffs, dude. Yeah, his minutes are very short, but he stands a purpose for us. And when he comes in, he takes care of it. Same thing with Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen is a defensive goon.
Right. Yeah.
He put that chest in your face. That's what they need.
I can tell you this: if Ibaka don't make more of his presence, he won't be here next year. And he won't, because they'll put him with Middleton and a draft pick. I'm telling you, and I
feel that, I hate to say it, but I think Drew and Chris Middleton need to be traded next year.
Drew, I don't think you got. Drew's defense is still ridiculous. I don't. Sometimes offensively, I'm like, what's wrong with this dude? But you can't really take none from Drew because of the way he plays defense. Like he get it popping. Like, come on,
I think if you really sit down and think about it, there could be 5 to 7 point guards in the league better than Drew right now. that's better than Drew. Now you may take away for some of those guys, you may take away the defense, but yeah, other than that, man, we need more scoring, and sometimes he's prone to, to fall off
Yeah, but you can't. Well, but
at
it's
the
not like
worst times of a game.
we don't have that many defensive stalwarts. You can't trade the one you have. Like you got to keep him because of his defense. Because you have Giannis. We got a hog.
Right.
And then you got Portis. And so you got some dudes who can put the ball in the hoop, but you got to have some defense somewhere on there. You got to have him and Brook Lopez are so important because of the defensive presence that they bring to the Bucks. So I want Brook to stop shooting threes though, bro. Your shit ain't falling.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves now. I also seen Drew get cooked last year. KD cooked the shit out of Drew.
You talking about KD though?
But I'm saying, let's not get carried away about how good of a defensive player he is. He's good. He's one of the great ones in the league right now. But he's not that good to where I wouldn't trade him. He's still tradable.
Who hasn't KD cooked? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Hey, it doesn't matter.
It do matter. That's who you calling.
But hey, if you're a lockdown defender, you don't let somebody score 47, 50 points on you. Is that a lockdown defender? I don't care who the scorer is.
And actually, last year, it was a shared load because PJ Tucker D'd up KD a lot. That's what he used it for. Well, it was cooking everybody. Like
our two most defensive-minded players were getting cooked by KD.
Right. I don't know. I feel like you splitting hairs here, my brother. I feel like you being unfair to Drew. I feel like you hating on Drew a little bit. Is there some Drew hate over there?
If we are to continue to defend our championship, we're gonna have to get rid of Drew and Chris and make some big trades for some better players, some younger players.
I'm with Middleton. You got to keep Drew though. I think you get rid of Middleton and because you got to have some youth. We got to get some of them young hoppers, man. We don't got enough hoppers. We don't got them young boys who play above.
And Drew's getting along in the tube too. He's been in the league for a while.
I don't know, man. I think we have to disagree on Drew and agree on Middleton. I think that's where we have.
I just like. I would love to get Jordan Poole in Milwaukee.
I bet you would. You and about 50 other motherfuckers.
I'd love to get Jordan Poole in Milwaukee, man. Let him come home and start and let that boy go loose. Let him roll.
Man, wouldn't it be nice, right? Like that
let
would be
roll with Giannis.
That'll be the story of the ages. A boy from Milwaukee come home from the north side, went to King, shout out to King, come home and play for the Bucks, and then get another ring with him with Giannis, or my wife called him Giannis.
Not only be on the team, but star on the team.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We also had some boxing. Some boxing went on this past weekend, man, and the black dude lost, right?
Yeah.
I'ma say it if don't nobody else say it. I'm not a fan of Tyson Fury. I don't like Tyson Fury. I think he's a good boxer, but I want somebody to whoop him. Like I thought Wilder was gonna be able to come back in that last one. And then once again, this is I can't take anything away from Tyson Fury. He's a heck of a boxer. We know that the heavyweight division has been pretty shitty, for the last, I don't know, 10, 12 years. I mean, you had the Klitschko brothers who dominated it, and I was like, that was crazy for me because of how long they held it down. I'm like, how's these big Russian dudes? You know what I mean? So but they was good boxers though. And we know the biggest dudes, the biggest, strongest, most athletic dudes now are going to play basketball or football. So it's taking a lot away from the heavyweight division. But I just don't, Fury, but he dropped his brother. Did you see it? Did you see the knockout with the uppercut?
I saw it.
Right. I just like, damn. So, and with boxing, black people and white people, that's been our back and forth forever, right? Like, and it's, right now we ain't holding the crown, right? Like it's like we creep into their sports and they creep into ours. But white dudes have always been accountable in boxing though, right? Especially overseas. Europeans always been some boxing motherfuckers, right? Cubans and Europeans, Mexicans too. And some of the toughest damn fighters you're gonna ever see in your life is Mexicans.
And those are two British boxers, and boxing is real big in Britain.
Yeah, it always has been in Europe. Period. Yep. It always has been. I still like we were talking about last week because we were talking about Spence and Crawford and all that, and then I started thinking about like there was other boxers who I like. Where's Canelo? I need to see Canelo get some more, some more action. We need them
Right.
to speed up the fights, man. But I do understand boxing is so taxing that you do need to take some time off. You got
Well,
to take time
with
off in
Canelo, with Canelo, the rumor is that Canelo is ducking all the black fighters.
Is
He
that what it
doesn't want
is?
to fight the black fighters, and he's actually he has ducked a lot of good people. He's ducked Charlo. He's been ducking this dude named Demetrius Andrade for years. And
Okay.
dude he's a cold boxer too. I like him. He and a couple of others, man, that are up and coming, and he's been cherry picking.
Huh. Interesting. I don't know, man. I want to see some good boxing, right? Especially during this time where you don't have football. Basketball will be up pretty soon. Then you get into this kind of lull with baseball and whatnot, and it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm usually looking for the CFL and shit on TV, right?
Now there's a good one coming up though.
Okay.
I think it's May 9th. I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but Tank Davis and Riley Romero.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's going to be a good one. They both are from Floyd's camp, and yeah, it's going to be a good one, man. It's
Yeah.
gonna.
So like,
I'm looking forward to that one.
and Benzino, who is he? He trying to fight 50 Cent, but who he gonna fight? He just agreed to a fight.
Why? And you know what, dude? I saw that, man, and I was like, you know what? Who wants to see this shit? Now, that would be a good fight. Like, you walk into a restaurant with your wife and be like, oh, damn, Benzino just got up and busted Logan Paul and this shit. They fighting. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see it in that kind of setting, but to go and watch that shit, a boxing match.
Yeah, I
I
mean that
rather,
the celebrity boxing matches now is a popular thing, though. They make a lot of money
dude,
because people actually buy that shit.
I would rather see them just get into a regular fight on the street over some bullshit.
Right, you just go to Walmart and
That
shit.
would be
Just
more entertaining to see these motherfuckers fighting in the aisle at Walmart
right.
over some
Oh,
shit than I actually watch them in a boxing ring. Like, really?
yeah, man. I once again though, I think there's so many boxers because you got so many different weight classes, and like people actually forget about they forget about all the boxers because there's so many weight classes. So you end up only paying attention to like a certain amount. Like who knows who the super featherweight what the fuck is super featherweight? You weigh 20 pounds. Like I mean, you can watch it, them dudes will probably be beating the hell out of each other, but it's like right, like nobody knows who that champ is. Like the
Yeah.
middleweight, light heavyweight. When you start getting lightweight, even those dudes get a lot of fame. But so I just think more,
Some of
more
those
light.
weight classes are ridiculous, though, man. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
bro.
super welterweight and like it's like, damn, man, what? And how many
115 pounds, 120 pounds. A
man,
grown ass man weighing 115, 120 pounds, man. Ain't that
man,
dangerous at any height?
it's crazy. A grown ass man who weighs like my leg weigh 120 pounds, like
Right.
right. And this
130.
this weight, right? That's what I'm saying. Like we see boxers, they look bigger than they are. I think it's Michael Jai White, who, if y'all know, is like who's like a real kung fu dude back in the days. Michael Jai White, who played in all the movies. He always talks
Dynamite.
about how people underestimate how important size is in fights because he said you take somebody like he was talking about Bruce Lee. And he was saying people think Bruce Lee was just super raw because he was in movies, but in real life, he was a little dude. So he's like, so if I'm 240 pounds and I'm moving on Bruce and I'm a skilled fighter, I'd whoop Bruce's ass because the size would be too much for him to overcome. And people's like, oh, hell no, what you talking about? Bruce Lee? And he's like, why are you saying that? Because you watched him in a movie? Have you ever seen him in a real fight? And he's like, I'm a real fighter. So when we see a lot of those boxers, now I did hear like one of my homeboys years ago, he told me the story about Vernon Forrester, I believe, rest in peace, who's I think a middleweight champ, and
Yeah.
he said that he was in the bar and one of his partners who was, kind of had a little size to him was like, I think I could whoop dude ass, like dude ain't that big. And he's like, they basically put money up and was like, nah, we'll go, go over there and see what's happening. And I guess he went and poured a drink on Vernon Forrester, and according to my partner, I ain't gonna say his name to protect the guilty. He said Vernon Forrester took off on him so fast that he was down. Like he was like he hit him like 8-9 times so fast that nobody could even like you didn't even really see it. You just seen his partner like down on the ground. And so he's like, we had to step in and tell him, like, it's gonna be gunplay. That's enough. That's enough. And he's like, dude, I guess dude, pretty wild dude. So but so yeah, a lot of us think I whip a boxer, I guess with the super featherweight, and I'm a big dude, I probably could grab his little ass, but get up to like a middleweight dude, like a Cotto or thing. Cotto got bigger. So, when Floyd whipped his ass, he wasn't as big as he is now. So, but yeah, man. So yeah, I don't know. You think I wouldn't fight, who I wouldn't fight an MMA fighter. Like if I knew a dude fought was an MMA fighter, if I fight him is if he was like really trying to take my life.
Now that's interesting because Jay White is talking about size, but if you remember with the MMA, I think it was the UFC when it first started.
Yes,
those guys, there was no weight. No weight divisions.
Right.
It was a big 600-pound motherfucker fighting 150, 160-pound dude and getting whooped.
Sometimes.
And getting whooped sometimes, like getting embarrassed. Right. A lot of times, and it was all about, to me, that proves that it's really not about size, it's about styles. Because when the UFC first started, there was no weight divisions, and it was more about the martial arts styles and the wrestling styles.
Yeah, because even different boxing styles used to ball motherfuckers up.
Right.
Royce Gracie used to take big dudes out the game, like just.
You know what I'm saying? So when he says that, it's not always the size. Sometimes it's the skill.
I don't know. I think you gotta be careful, right? Like you run up on the wrong motherfucker. Some of us just sometimes you just gotta ass whooping on layaway and you don't know it's coming. That's why it's better to leave people alone and mind your business, right? You just out here fucking with people. Somebody gonna be then open up a can of whoop ass on you. And that's what I say. Like I got a partner who's he's an MMA fighter. Well, he trains MMA. He's not a fighter like he's going in the UFC, but he's a dude who engages in that training pretty intensively. And, he can be pretty dangerous because he just knows how to get you in different kinds of locks that will compromise your joints. So that's why I say,
right.
I don't want to have to do this to you, playboy. Like, I'm too old to be wrestling and shit, rolling around on the ground with you. You feel me? I'm going to have to, right? So.
Hey, and then you got some guys who think, oh, well, I was a really good high school wrestler. No, you're not wrestling for points, motherfucker. You wrestling to whoop ass. You trying to survive.
I know when I was in college, like the one group of dudes who, and we, as football players, we was the big wild dudes, right? A big crazy team of 84 dudes, just wild. Nobody fuck with the wrestlers, right? Them dudes walk around with cauliflower ears and shit. I used to watch them condition, and during like we be in camp and you be in and out the locker room. I was like, whoa, them dudes is retarded.
It's a rough sport. It's a rough sport. Not, you know what I'm saying? It's some rough dudes, wrestle. But I'm saying it's a little different in MMA, man. When it's more than one style. You can do more than you have. You don't have those rules.
What was the brother name who we just thought he was just like the most killers do? What's the brother name? He was doing the fist fighting the black dude. What was his name? Kimbo Slice, right? Like, and I always thought he should have stuck to regular boxing, but he tried to go MMA, but his wrestling game wasn't there, and he used to get whooped. And it's like, damn, man, like if you can hit him, if you can land them hands on him, but this dude is coming in with a leg lock on you, just putting your ankle in, you got to tap out, bruh. So yeah, that MMA shit is. You know what? I don't even like to watch MMA. Honestly, it's a little too brutal for me. I don't, I'd be like, man, I seen a dude literally get his jaw knocked out of place one time. Like his jaw was like over here. Like I've seen, cats get knocked down and then you got to put him out, and it's just like, dude, man, I don't, and I've always stated this. What's dude named Dane? What's his name? The owner of the UFC. What's his name?
Dana White.
Right. He's an asshole. I don't like him. I've never. He's always every time I hear him talk, I be like, this dude. I could tell he'll use your ass up in a minute. Don't give a damn about you.
Right.
Fuck. And it's not like the purses be big enough for the punishment they be. I ain't got $2 million. How much you get? I'm like, you ain't there and blow. So yeah, man. But yeah, I like to see some good fights coming back, man. I want the summer to be full up. Now we was talking about the NBA, and I want to talk about this for a moment too, because right now I had came out on the show weeks back and talked about the show Winning Time, about the building of the Showtime Lakers. And when I talked about it from the fact that I thought it was very entertaining. First of all, I thought it was funny as hell.
It is.
I like the way they film it, with the kind of retro style. And I was of the impression that I knew none of this could all be 100% true. There has to be some caricature. There has to be some roles in it that were played by, like I said, John C. McGinley. Every movie he's ever been in cracks me the fuck up. I think that the young brother who they got to play Magic is spot on. Like, where did y'all find this dude at? And so a lot of the Lakers, I get why Magic said he had an issue with it because he had his own thing coming out. And Magic says that we weren't consulted. Well, this is all based on a book, apparently, right? Like, so, then as Jerry Buss has come out. I mean, not Jerry Buss, but Jerry West has come out and said, like, I need them to give me a public apology because that's not who I was. And that's not how I was. And I've never done this and I've never done that. But I'm like, okay, Jerry, I don't think nobody really cares at this point. Like, it don't like really. I mean, you the logo of the NBA. As far as basketball goes, you one of the greats of all time, Hall of Fame, whatnot. Do you think this is going what you think you're gonna lose Twitter followers, right? Like you it's a movie, it's a show. What how I don't understand what they say. Well, you didn't consult us. Who says you tell the truth about everything? Right? I mean, it's a show. It's Hollywood. Let them have their licenses. It's like right now it'd be like Yoda showing up saying Return of the Jedi wasn't accurate. That ain't how that shit went. It's a movie. What are you talking about?
You can tell it's parody, man. It's obvious. You know what I'm saying? Right. But Jerry West does catch hell though, man. He catches hell in that show though, dude. He gets hell.
Catch hell. I think he give more hell than he goes off on everybody.
He's
right. Like he's like a miserable prick on the show, which is funny as shit to me. I'm like, okay. So I guess I'm saying I wasn't going into it saying or thinking, oh my God, I can't wait to see Jerry West. Like I always wanted to know his life story. No, Jerry, I get that you are an integral part of the Lakers, but we came to see Magic. We didn't come to see you, right? So I guess, but I feel him on saying, at least play me accurately. Kareem dissed it. But Kareem has always been a stoic type asshole type dude anyways, right? Like, Kareem is, he's not known for his friendly demeanor. I guess I'm trying to say. So, and, he said that it's stupid, he talked about it being a parody, and that's why he didn't like it because it was funny. I'm like, Kareem, why do athletes always got to take themselves so goddamn serious? You know what I mean? Like, no, that wasn't. We put a lot of blood, sweat. Like, but nobody wants to watch a movie about that. Nobody want to watch a movie where there's a scene where you sit silently in front of a jazz album with ice on both of your knees because you can't get up for 2 hours. We don't want to see that. So, I mean, I'm just saying, y'all lighten up, man. It's a good ass show. It's already renewed for a second season. The fact that some people watch it should be something that they're appreciative of because you do get to come out and say, well, that wasn't how I was. Now it's going to give you more shine because you'll get to tell your story because guess what, Jerry West? Before this, we didn't give a fuck. Maybe if I was in Golden State, because he still does. He's still a basketball GM or executive with Golden State. Yeah. And, they say he's integral to the championships that were won there. So why you crying about this shit, bro? Like, come on, man, stop it. Other than that, I think it's a good ass show. Magic is made out to be the ultimate cockhound on there. Like Magic just can't. It's almost like, I don't know. Did you watch the first episode?
Yeah.
You know how it's so it's like all building up to that moment of that press conference, that infamous press conference in 1989. But I still say
Man,
it's a good show, man. I like this, and I even like how they portrayed Dr. J kind of playing with magic a little bit. And I read the follow-ups and they say, well, that didn't actually happen. Some of the schedules, the dates is wrong and all this. I mean,
mm,
like, damn, okay, we get it, man. We get it. You know what I mean?
right.
So I even seen this is how crazy it is. Richard Pryor's wife was mad at Mike Epps' portrayal of Richard Pryor in on the show. Because did you see the episode with Richard Pryor where Mike Epps was playing Richard Pryor? And
Yep.
she at one point had kind of appointed Mike Epps to play Richard Pryor in the movie. And so I was like, I didn't think he did that bad. I mean,
Right.
you
He
know, I
did a
mean,
good job to me.
come on, man. Like I say, athletes, man, they just, they take themselves. I get it. The motherfucker say that's my life you playing with, right? Like, but it's all fame and fortune, man. Like you ain't people talking about you because they admire you. Like people
Right.
they feel like that time period in the NBA with Magic and Bird changed the game of basketball, which it did. It
I mean,
basically revived the league.
but out of all people, they got a lot of nerve to complain because that's Hollywood.
Right.
That's Hollywood. And for all those years, Showtime was in Hollywood. So,
Yeah.
I mean, man, really stop taking yourself so serious. It's a
Yeah.
great show. It's a parody, but it has a lot of true incidents in it, which makes it even more compelling. So yeah, man, they're doing a good job with it. And just to hear that it's coming back a second season, I know I'll be ready to watch it.
Man, it's a lot to be told. And see, I'm one of those dudes. I like period pieces, anyways, right?
Yep.
I like movies about something, and it don't have to be based all on everything. But I like for them to tell us, because like I enjoy like when they had the Soul Train show on BET. I knew it wasn't 100% accurate, but I thought it was interesting to watch. How
Yep.
did Don Cornelius move? How when we talk about sports movies, I like for them to go back and tell some of them stories over and say, man, that's how because even like with Norm Nixon on the Lakers show, it's like interesting. You knew Norm Nixon was a pretty good basketball player, but you never got to kind of see how he was on the team or whatever. So we wasn't there, Jerry. Can we? But usually it's like those players are like against it because they have something else that they didn't co-sign coming out. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why you didn't want us to watch that shit. Oh, I
Have
am
you
mad.
seen Have you seen that documentary, the Magic documentary?
No.
I watched it over the weekend.
Did you? How is it?
It's decent, man. It's decent. If anybody is expecting anything like The Last Dance, they might be a little disappointed. Maybe to me, it's not as interesting as The Last Dance, but it's a good documentary, though. It's good. It's.
I didn't. You know what? I didn't even watch The Last Dance. I didn't get why everybody was so. I mean, I did get it because it's Michael Jordan, it's the Bulls, one of the greatest dynasties. I get all of that. But I was just like, okay, why people acting like, but see, once again, there's people who just wanted to know what was going on at the time, right? So,
Yeah.
and then for Michael Jordan to kind of be a part of it, which Michael Jordan has never really been one to divulge information. So it made it more interesting to say, oh, so we hearing Mike talk about the shit, right? Like, so, and that's good, right? But there's how many people came out and said that wasn't accurate or that didn't happen or wasn't, and these were players who was there. So I guess we shouldn't expect any different from this. But I mean, you wrote a book about your life. I'm pretty sure some people who would be like, man, that ain't what happened. Or right? Yeah, show your book, man. Tell them how they can get a hold of that joint.
Amazon, Kindle, and Lulu. Order a copy today. It's only $10.
Support that brother, man. Man. Yeah, man. So it's the Big Black Sports Show, man. We spinning through it. The draft is Thursday. I'm gonna talk about the draft, but now, did you see Mike Tyson? Did you see the Mike Tyson footage yet?
Yes, I did. I did. Yeah.
Right, and then we come to find out that this dude who Mike Tyson beat up is like a derelict type of dysfunctional individual, right? I'm wondering right now what the civil thing will be. Where like, is he gonna sue Mike and because they're saying that allegedly he's the one who kind of started the whole thing, like he threw a water bottle at him or something. I know he was drunk fucking with him, but once again, I start talking about racist white sports fans. These motherfuckers feel like they can say or do whatever they want to you because you play a sport. Are you insane? You don't get to do that, right? Like, so, I mean, it's a lesson, unfortunately, that a lot of people over the years have had to learn and will continue to learn. Like, you ran up on this dude, fucking with him, and he wasn't having it and whipped your
Right.
ass. I'm a sue. Okay, well, you earned that check, right? Hopefully, hopefully there's some kind of real justice here where he can't really take Mike to the cleaners, because I mean, you tell me this, you never see a drunk black dude on a plane doing that to Mike Tyson. He might be sweating him like, Mike, you my motherfucker, man. Mike, man, I want plenty money on you, right? He ain't gonna be fucking with him. It's very seldom, right? It's usually some drunk white dude, belligerent dude. That's why I thought Charles Barkley was a hypocrite when he was talking about Kyrie sticking his finger up and all this. I'm like, bro, didn't you throw a dude through a window at a bar for fucking with you? Like, he was like all over the place fighting white dudes. Like, I don't understand.
The spitting incident, he spit on the kid.
Oh man,
he's spitting at a fan and he spit on the kid.
Dumb ass.
Come on, Barkley.
Cats get old and get religion, man. They get old and get Jesus quick and be out there criticizing.
Forget.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I seen the Mike Tyson footage. I laughed. Mike was on another Mike was out here on these podcasts smoking weed with everybody. Mike don't give a shit.
Hot boxing.
Right.
I like that podcast too.
You know what? It's hard for me to watch Mike on the podcast. Right. Because, and the reason I say that is because even if Mike say something stupid, like, who's gonna tell him? Like, who gonna regulate? Right? Like, who? Because I be seeing Mike, they ask Mike questions sometimes, and they be like, "Hey, I just at that point I had no brain. My brain literally I took out my head and left it on the dresser." And nobody says, "Come on, Mike," with that bullshit. Like, he's Mike Tyson.
I never realized that his drug use was that extensive early on in his career.
Okay.
Early on in his career, when he was taking harder shit and doing other things, because he was always in great shape, dude. But did a lot of cocaine, a lot of crazy shit. But now Tibetan toads and shit. What the fuck? What is he on now?
Yeah, I read. There was one of the guys who he was an old Latino fighter. I believe his name is Jose Torres. He wrote a book about Mike Tyson years ago, like The Fire Inside or something like that. And he was one of the ones who Cus D'Amato brought in to work with young Mike Tyson early. So he told a lot of that stuff in that book. So I knew it like a long time ago, like about his drug usage and like the story about Mike with the ringworm in his head and like, so then when you hear Kevin Rooney talk about Mike messing with his daughter and him pulling the gun, so Cus D'Amato fired him. Like, yeah, Mike was a wild boy. And especially once Cus D'Amato had passed on, like, who's gonna check him? Who's gonna, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah. Mike got some. I've heard Mike tell some wild stories about just like giving people Rolls Royces and shit, and just doing wild, just snapping out, right? Like he was talking about in the book that I'm talking about. They talked about Mike admitting before a fight that he had sex with so many women one night he passed out. Like, I guess he just was trying to test himself and he just had sex with a bunch of different women off, he's off drugs and alcohol and he passed out. So like it was a discussion in the book he was having with the trainer. Like, man, I passed out last night from having an orgasm and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, Mike was definitely a certified Looney Tune. I watch a lot of podcasts because I watch a lot of YouTube because I love our media now, right?
Yeah.
I love the fact that the media that we like the way and people don't understand that we have a whole new way of generating information. And that's why it's so important that people do what they want to do in terms of having platforms and being able to speak your truth, dress it up a little bit and do it how you want to do it, right? Like, and a lot of times people who ain't got nothing to say be standing around like, why are you doing that? Why you ain't, right? Like, so I mean, let a motherfucker do what they want to do. But so yeah, Mike, the hot boxing thing for me, because I always just feel like everybody's scared in every interview. Right. So it's
right.
Real questions involved and shit. So, but I guess it's some dudes that ask him some shit. But Mike will check that shit in quick. Like, what do you mean? Mike, hold on. I was So
Yeah,
yeah,
he got
Mike.
some good interviews on that show.
Yeah, supposedly he got a lot of money though. From the cannabis, I guess he's made a lot of money. And that's good, man. I'm glad he won't end up a
Right.
punch old broke fighter, man. I want to talk about the draft because now we see that the Packers are supposedly trying to get Waller from the Raiders. Don't know if that's gonna happen, right? What you think about that?
That would be nice to add that piece. That would be very nice, actually, to stretch
To
the
add that
field.
piece, okay.
To stretch the field. It gives Rodgers a weapon. Rodgers needs some weapons now, man. And we need to start working on that.
Yeah, it's good to it would be good to have a dominant tight end, and then but you still have to go in the draft and get a speedster. Yeah, no matter what the Packers say or do, they're gonna have to get a speedster from somewhere. I was like trade one of them first round picks for Debo. But now so like you talked about it being cold as hell playing for the Bucks. So how hard is it to get some some receivers to say, man, we want you to come play in Green Bay? Like I'm not playing in no guy. And a lot of players are like, hell no, I'm not playing in Green Bay. So what you think about that?
I mean, you got to sell them on winning. You got to sell them on winning. We got a great team. We got a playoff team. We got a championship team. If we get a few more pieces,
Okay.
so you got to sell them on winning, man. I think we can get. I think we're going to get a real good receiver in the draft if they don't mess this draft up, man. I think we got a chance to get a really good receiver. I just want them to solidify the O line, get us another piece on that D line, and maybe show up a backer or two. The defense, defense need more work than offense right now. But we definitely need a receiver,
You
though.
think
We
the
need
defense needs more work than the offense when all you really lost from the defense is Zadarius? You lost Devontae Adams from your offense.
no, we still need more though. We don't got any. What besides Campbell? Who's the other linebackers? Rashawn Gary. Who's the other backer?
Chris Barnes.
Oh, he
You
was
got
hurt.
3 good backers. Well, no, he wasn't hurt. He finished out the season. He had a good season.
No, dude, wasn't he? That's why Campbell started because Chris Barnes was hurt.
No, Campbell starts out inside. They moved Chris Barnes to the outside.
Campbell, okay, wait. Barnes started on the inside, didn't he?
He was.
Then he got hurt.
They got Campbell. He got hurt last year, but they had the boy from Minnesota who they were still working with. He got hurt. Chris Barnes was hurt last year. He broke his hand. This year he played from the outside and he played pretty well, unless they had 2 in the middle. But Campbell is the inside dude. He's the
Campbell's
dude.
the inside dude. But what about Preston Smith? Zadarius was out.
Right.
Preston Smith. You sure Chris Barnes?
Chris
He was
Barnes
hurt at some point this year, dude. He had to be hurt.
Barnes had a great season. You got to go look him up. He had a good season. He played. He's serviceable. He's a good linebacker. He's an NFL linebacker. He's not. Campbell obviously was the stud of the bunch. But
well, I like when we got a cornerback.
You gotta love that. Yeah.
I like when we got a cornerback. Safeties.
Amos and Savage, as long as they healthy, two of the best.
Okay, so now D line, we got Kenny, Big Kenny.
You got Kenny Walker.
And
you got the big boy you just got from the Chiefs.
Who?
I forget his name. I forget his name. Big 300-pounder boy, supposed to be pretty good. Come from the Chiefs. You still got the big white boy. Forget his name.
Who are ends? Who are D ends?
Well, you're gonna have Chris. I'm sorry, Rashawn Gary. And who else? Well, they got a
linebacker.
It's what we talking about playing in the 3-4 now.
Okay, yeah. Playing the hybrid.
Who is the DN, right? Like you could. There's no time. Depends on what package that they're in, but it's all based on who's going to be putting their hand down in the dirt. You got to replace Zadarius. I agree with that, but he's really. I mean, they lost with Shandon Sullivan, who's on the back end, but the defense was a top 10 defense. So with the offense, you lose one of the greatest receivers of all time. Your tight end was hurt, and you lost MVS, who was your only real speed. So they lost on offense.
we like I said, who are our defensive ends? Who
You have
are our defensive
depends on
ends?
what package you in.
We
They got
gotta have a, we gotta have some bookends. Some of those players ain't cutting it.
who? I mean, who? Rashawn? Are you saying Rashawn Gary didn't cut it last year? He led the team in sacks.
But who's the other end?
I forget they got a young boy who gave him some sacks too off the edge last year. They got a young
Listen,
boy, and Preston Smith puts his
who
hand down
who
sometimes.
who got who took over for Zadarius and produced the
No,
same
you
kind
didn't
of
get
stat?
the same. You didn't get the same, but you got Walker, who's an All-Pro. Is that his name? I'm sorry. What's the big boy? The D tackle. Kenny. Yeah. What's his last name?
His name I'm losing. I want to say Kenny Taylor, but I know that's not it.
No. I can't believe I'm having a brain fart, y'all. That's why I should absolutely know his name. He's an All-Pro. It'll come to me. I'm just having a brain fart right now.
Well, at least we remember the first name.
What's his name? I don't know. So because I got my thing on something else. We'll get back to it, but I'm saying their defense, they don't. I don't think they lost as much as they did as the offense did. I think with the offense, you got to retool.
Well, we do need linemen. We do need some O linemen. I think we need a right guard. We got to left. Right. Well, unless Edgerton leaves, did he resign though?
Who's that?
Edgerton.
No. I'm looking at the defense. So Dean Lowry is the defense. Kenny Clark is the nose. Why I can't remember.
Kenny Clark.
Jamar Reed is the boy that they bringing in, who's going to play in from Kansas City. The linebackers are Preston Smith, Chris Barnes. He plays left inside. Campbell is right inside. Right outside is Rashawn. Sometimes Chris Barnes goes to the outside. Preston Smith has got his hand down when they in certain packages. So, like we said, on the back end is Amos, and then is Savage. And then they're saying Jair Alexander and Rasul Douglas is going to be the starting corners. But so I don't know if did they let go of Kevin King yet? Because in his career, in his contract year, Kevin King played pretty good last year.
We can let him go though, because Eric Stokes is going to be good.
Eric Stokes is going to be nice. Eric Stokes had a good rookie. Yes, he did.
We can put him as a nickel back.
So I guess my point is you need a speed rusher. We know that that's something that they need to take in the draft. So we're going to be looking Thursday. See, all kinds of crazy shit happens in the draft, right? And so we don't know who's going to trade up, who's going to slide. And that's why I have Todd McShay from ESPN.com. I have his final mock draft. So I'm going to pull that up. I just had it. But so because and this is not exact because you don't ever know what's gonna happen. Like I said, I think you never know who's gonna trade up, who's gonna look to maneuver. Because they're still, like I said, the Packers are still trying to put together a trade with San Francisco. I mean, I'm sorry, with Las Vegas for the Raiders so they can get Darren Waller. So I want to see that happen. I say at least give up one of them draft picks for Darren Waller.
So are we going to keep DeGoria?
The offensive lineman? The tight end. I don't know. DeGoria. I thought he was hurt. No, Tanyan got hurt. Well, he'll be a backup. I mean, if you get Waller, then that brother he
just like DeGoria. I guess they didn't like him enough to.
I mean, but Waller is a prospect. Like he's not. He has a way a more of an upside than DeGoria.
And so, Aaron likes to use his tight ends.
Yeah, it's a staple. Anybody right now in the NFL, the tight end has replaced the fullback. The tight end used the block, and the fullback got the ball. Now the tight end is he's running routes.
Some people even put the tight end in the slot.
You can if you get the right one.
Right.
In the middle of the field. Exposing the shit out there, goddamn safety.
Man.
I'm trying to see because I had his draft pick Todd McShay. Because we did a mock draft earlier. Let me see if I can get this thing to work. Because I know he's saying right now, he's saying that Aiden Hutchinson is back to number one. Okay. And they're saying number two, the number two pick will be um the boy from Georgia that we keep talking about.
Big
Big
boy.
200s, yeah, that can run the hell out the ball, right? So so I see what this is right now. They blocking me off. They won't let me get the whole joint. But I'll get it. I'll get it. So yeah, they saying the boy from Michigan. I still don't think the boy from Oregon has slipped. And I'm wondering why. From Oregon, Thibodeau, they're saying he slipped. So I'm wondering why they fell off of him. Because and once again, we talk about white boys. Now the Bosa brothers kind of proved me wrong with this, and the Watt brothers, because I was always like, hell no. But I can't say Hayden, Aiden Hutchinson won't be good. But I just think the boy Thibodeau. I'm one of them dudes who always cheering for black people. So so they're saying Aiden Hutchins. This is Mel Kiper's. I'm looking for Mel Kiper. I don't even know who this dude is. This dude named Vinny. Here we go. Mel Kiper. He's saying Aiden Hutchinson first. Sauce Gardner, the cornerback, is going second to the Detroit Lions. I think he's from Cincinnati. Trayvon Walker to the Houston Texans from Georgia. Thibodeau to the Jets at 4. Icona, the offensive tackle, to the Giants. Malik Willis 6 to the Panthers. The Giants getting Jeremiah Johnson, the DN. Hold on. The Falcons are going to take Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver. I'm looking to see what Mel Kiper is saying the Packers will do. So he's saying they're going to take Christian Watson. That's the boy from North Dakota, I believe, with the 22nd pick. And if they could pair him with a good tight end, that would be something else. And then they're saying they'll take Zion Johnson. He's saying they'll take Zion Johnson, who's a guard or center. I don't know what school he goes to. I have to go and check for that. We'll see. Second, let me see. This is McShay. He has pretty much the same thing, except he has Trayvon Walker going second instead of Sauce Gardner. The consensus picks are the top 10. I don't really care about the rest of those teams. He's saying that they'll take Jahan Dotson from Penn State. That's what McShay is saying. The Packers will take him. And they'll Kenyon Green. Yeah, he's a receiver from. I'm sorry, I got to go back. So Jahan Johnson is the wide receiver from Penn State that we talked about a couple weeks back. And then they have the 28th pick, and he's saying they'll take Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. I want to see what they were going to do, because they have 4 picks. I just think that losing Devontae Adams will turn out not as bad as we thought it would be. I know people saying, Kev, you crazy. I'm not mad at that. I think the Packers will be. The one thing about them dudes is they all get paid to do what they do.
Right.
So they're professionals. So your whole job is to go and build a team, right? And I think that they'll do it. I think the Packers will be competitive. Will they win the Super Bowl? Who knows? Everybody has a fighting chance, right? And the powers always shift. Don't get me wrong. With all of the quarterbacks and all of this stuff that went to the AFC West, and everybody's going to be stacked. First game of the season, 2-3 of them dudes could go down, right? And so then it'll be tough sledding. So, but yeah, man, we'll see. I just want the Packers to do right. I don't think they can go wrong by getting the boy from Penn State, and I don't think that they can go wrong by drafting the boy from North Dakota either. But I do think they need to take one of those first round draft picks and try to get an established veteran. Like, I would like to see Darren Waller from the Las Vegas Raiders come on in and get with them. I think that'd be a good fit for him. And then if Tanyan comes back, now we got double tights, baby.
Right.
With speed on the outside, it could be bombs away, because we are still going to have a dominant running game, right? Because you still got 2 really good backs. So the sky might be the limit, man. We'll see. But they got to, like you said, they got to do the right thing, man. I seen that Dwayne Haskins, they had his funeral, and I hate that, a lot of the talk. This is what happened with brothers, man, young brothers. and all out of saying his wife, his mom, and his family and his wife don't get along because his wife was violent. Like at one point, she knocked his teeth out, and she's talking about she actually is the one who called 911 because he had called her and told her he was out of gas on the freeway. This is just such a tragic situation, man. It's so tragic, man. And his kids involved. God bless that brother's kids,
Yeah.
man. You know what I mean?
That's a horrible way to die, man.
Yeah, man.
Horrible way to die, man.
Yeah, and just to be that young and to have so much, because you know he could have been. He obviously he was having some struggles, man. But you don't know when it could have turned around for him, man. You know, so. But it's just, you know, like I said, man, it's one of those things. If you were in a relationship, you know, and you got that kind of level of violence going on, like it's sad when the family can't step in and say, man, you know, you need to leave her alone because you know he loved what he loved. Obviously, he married her. So who knows what the nature of their relationship was? I just think it's sad, man, and I don't think anybody needs to rush to judge that young brother, because he had a bunch of success at Ohio State and he kind of struggled. But people predicted his struggle because he didn't spend enough time playing college ball, right? Like so,
Right.
people were saying when he get to the pro level, because you know, one thing about the reason you see so many big time players come out of these big time programs and flop is because you go from literally playing with the best dudes to playing teams that's full of the best dudes, right?
Right.
So Alabama got such a great advantage over most of the teams that they play. And so, yeah, they're going to win out. Ohio State is dominant. They just killing people. You get to the pros, everybody on scholarship, right? Like it's the
Right.
best of the best of the best, right? It ain't just the best in the country. It ain't just the best on the planet. It's the best in the universe. I don't. Can you
Best of
say?
the best, and smart guys too.
Okay.
Guys who can actually learn and retain the playbook.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You got a lot of these guys who are star players, but they can't even memorize the playbook. They can't remember the plays. And even up to the college level, you got some guys who have to be, told what to do.
Yeah, man. There's no 100% guarantees, man, and that's why I tell my son all the time when you talk about sports, the one thing they haven't invented yet is something to measure a man's heart or his desire or his will, right? Like you say, look like Tarzan, play like Jane.
Man,
There was a lot going on in Indiana. I see there was some AAU tournaments. Shout out to the homie Michael G. I talked to him. There's some AAU tournaments.
Big Mike.
That the young brother from here, Corey Smith. Shout out to Corey. Was down at Notre Dame on a visit.
Okay.
Corey been offered by everybody, and you know, I'm happy to say that I had an opportunity to coach Corey as a youngster, and it was obvious when you seen him as a youngster that he was an exceptional talent. But you know, just
Really?
having talent and being able to get, oh my goodness, yes. I talk about all the time that one of the best Pee Wee League teams I ever seen. I'm saying Pee Wee League teams, but they were 8th graders. Was the junior general team that we had kind of put together, and which my son was a starting cornerback on that team, and we won the Chicago League. But we was beating nationally ranked teams, and you know, at the time I didn't even know that Pee Wee football or junior, I'm gonna say junior football was played at that level in Milwaukee. I didn't know how serious they go in Chicago and throughout Illinois. I didn't know that until we got in that league, and I said, "Whoa, this is something else."
And it seems like now Milwaukee is there. Our youth leagues are exploding right now. I just did I just had to help facilitate a I think it's
CSL.
NCSL youth camp Saturday at Hart Park. There's a lot of other coaches from the city there, and man, there's a lot of kids there, man. A lot of very, very good young student athletes with a lot of potential, man. It was fun. It was fun to see that many kids are becoming interested in football. And shout out to Prospect U, Milwaukee Broncos. Man, I don't want to miss too many other people, man. But as we go on this show, man, I'll be talking about the youth leagues and some of the kids that are up and coming bright shining stars, man. Because it's fun to watch these games. I recommend people support them. And man, Milwaukee has a very, very bright future for football.
I hope so. And but MPS got to get their shit together when it comes to football and it's gonna take some of us to get together and really go in here and make this thing happen. Right now, they're being allowed to do it the way they want to do it, and it's just not working. It hasn't worked for a very long time. You got to get some football people in here. And that's why I
Yeah,
say, like a player like Corey goes to Waukesha Catholic Memorial. That team is full of young brothers from Milwaukee who are very talented football players whose parents wouldn't ever send them to an MPS school because of the low quality of some of the schools. And I'm not mad at them.
true.
Like, that's why I didn't, to be honest, that's why I didn't send my son to an MPS school. So, and so I just feel like, but it's gonna take us to do it somehow, some way. And I haven't figured it out. I've been asked the question many a times because people keep asking me, don't you want to coach again? Absolutely, and I will. But if I'm going to coach at any time in the near future, first of all, it'll be with my son until he's done. But then anytime after that, it will be in a situation where we're building a program which involves youth development, which means there's academic support, there's life support, there's things that, I don't want to just make kids football players. I want to take young brothers and make them productive individuals, make them strong young men. So I would want to build a program in that fashion. So if I'm going to really get down with it, I'm going to do it that way. And I wouldn't take no less from no school. If I went to any school in MPS, I tell them there's some things I absolutely have to have in place in order for me to do this. If not, then don't expect me to, yield no results. So yeah, and so a lot of you're right, the talent is here because there's more kids. These parks be packed. My son played in the NCS, and so I seen Lincoln Park have 500-600 people on a Saturday morning out there screaming for the kids going hard. He played in SIFA. I've seen those same thing. I mean, my son played in almost every city football league, all the way up until we got to the junior generals, who are now Prospect U, by the way.
Right.
So shout out to Jeremy, man. Jeremy been at it with the kids for a long time.
Right.
Jeremy got his name on a lot of kids that then become great players.
Yeah.
But yeah. So shout out to Corey, man. He's only a sophomore getting all these offers, man. And I'm like, man, what? But I mean, they just went undefeated in one state. So he deserves what he's getting. I just because I know him, right? I know I've had the opportunity to coach him, and I know that some people kind of question whether he'd be able to do certain things, but that's what I'm saying. You can't count a man out. You can't, especially with these kids. You can't label kids,
Right.
So, and shout out to my guy Purnell too, because Purnell, young PJ, is on the Catholic Memorial team too. He told me they were down in Indiana at a rivals combine. So PJ was down there. PJ, who was also a ridiculous back on that team. I mean, we had. So I put it to you like this: we played Joliet in the playoffs one year, and it was 47-0 at halftime. That's how dominant the team was. Like, we went to play Chicago, the Hillside Hurricanes in Chicago, which is a very long-standing organization over there, with a lot of tradition. They were 16th in the country. We went down there and shut them out and beat them. Came on back to Milwaukee. Beat them in the championship. The Chicago Dolphins. We lost to the Dolphins, but the Windy City Dolphins, we lost to them at Hart Park. But it was a hell of a game. So yeah, a lot of good football, man, being played, man. So I know on that level, and most of those kids are going to the suburbs. They're not going to city conference schools because why would you?
Yeah, they're being recruited. They're being recruited, and they're leaving, and rightfully so, man. I mean, it's until we can ensure safer schools, safer classrooms, what I'm saying, a safer environment for our kids, we're going to lose them. We're going to lose the better athletes and the better scholars that perform better academically. We're going to lose them. MPS, man, all of this windfall of money, man, every time you turn on the TV, it seems like we get a new grant. MPS gets 9 point this million, 2 point this million for this and for that. But you're not seeing it. When you walk through the schools, you barely see it. When you go to the athletic events, you don't see anything changing. You know what I'm saying? When you see the teams practice on their own home fields and their home stadiums and stuff, gyms, you don't see the changes. Put some money into the schools.
First of all, MPS has a $2.5 billion budget. Governor Evers just gave them, I think, $10 million more dollars for their for next year. Yeah, I would agree with you. Things should be much better. There has to
Much
be
better.
some accountability hell, and we talk about that on Outlaw Radio. Shout out to Beverly Williams, who I've had on the show, and she's big behind this. If you're in my group, the People's News Network, if you're not in that group, join it, because the whole thing, there's a lot going on with MPS right now, administration, with the superintendent and whatnot. Miss Williams was on here. She did a great job. A lot of people seen that show. It did big numbers. So yeah, I mean, but I would say it like this: most MPS teachers who you did, like, because I taught for MPS, they don't even send their kids to MPS schools.
No, they don't.
So I don't know that we can, I don't know that we can ask much more from well, when parents say, I'm sending my kid here, why are you sending them way out there? The problem is, just because the school is way out in white areas does not mean it's a better school, because a lot of times kids got to go out there and fight a whole different fight. We know that there's been a lot of racial shit that's going on, racist behavior at athletic events over the years, and Butler and in different places, when these kids go in there and they get called nigger and all this, and even on the everyday grind. Because the reality is the suburbs don't really want us out there. It's a reason why they're out there, because they fled the city because they didn't want to live around us. So be careful where you put your kid, right? And if it's somebody gonna get used, make it a use situation. Yeah, they might be using your kid, but use their ass too. Get something out of it. I'm not talking monetary. I'm talking about get something that's tangible and solid for your child so that he or she can succeed. I see that the WIAA is now changing some rules, right? Like, because they're saying from now on, when they rule schools ineligible and the schools go and put in a lawsuit, or they then they can play again, like with what happened with Nicolay last fall. And they're even talking about getting instant replay. But they saying that's probably not going to happen, but it's under discussion that there may be some instant replay for high school football on some level. I said that's years to come, but they're talking about rule changes because, they say you can't play, you out. Because Nicolay had to forfeit a game, and then they sued, and then they were allowed to come back, and then they lost again. But there was this brawl at the end of the fight. So they said this brawl at the end of the game. So I didn't really watch it. I don't know. Did you watch that film?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. I know during the WIA playoffs, there was a fight at one of the games, and some crazy, So both schools ended up were ruled ineligible. But I mean,
is that the Thomas More incident?
Yeah, Thomas More.
Okay.
And what did I say? Nicolay. Nicolay and Thomas More. That's who was fighting.
That's who it was. Okay. Yeah. All right. Wow.
So they talking about changing the rules. So we'll see. We go back when Fred Riley was on here, and he was saying that people shouldn't be mad at the WIAA because they're governed. There's a governing body that's involved or whatnot. I don't know how accurate that is, but shout out to him. I see Fred Riley. He puts up a lot of stuff. He puts up a lot of basketball lore from the glory days of the city conference. And there used to be a time when basketball coaches could look at the city conference coaches and kind of laugh and say, y'all got your ass. But they can't do that now, right? Because they ain't knocking them down like that no more. So, man, let's see what we'll have. But yeah, man, we got to get it together, man. We got to do a better job of servicing our kids. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'm just about to say that the talent pool right now, man, is so shallow in the city right now that I hate to say it, but some of these high school basketball varsity teams look like intramural squads.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Look like dudes who couldn't make the cut. They just want to play ball. I mean, hey, it's not what it used to be, man.
Right. I'm never gonna criticize the kid, right? But so
I mean, I'm just keeping it real as far as what the talent pool is right now, and a lot of that has to do with the better kids leaving, going to play for the suburbs, or going to play for prep schools. Some are even leaving the state. So, and it's shallowing out the talent pool.
I mean, I can't underestimate the importance of a parent walking into a school and seeing a stable environment. as opposed to turning on the news and seeing your kid's school on the news for some consistent foolishness, right? Like so, but once again, I think it's a situation where the people, us, we got to come together and get some sort of united front against the foolery, man, and make sure that everything is administrated and governed correctly. So, one other thing to put on our list, man. I don't know. I think we pretty much covered everything on my end. You got something else you want to talk about that we kind of missed this week?
Not actually. I think we hit everything. I think, if I'm not correct, I think as far as boxing is concerned, the Spence Crawford fight, I think that deal is finalized.
Okay.
I think that deal is finalized. So that's a big boxing match to look forward to soon. Yeah. Other than that, man, I don't got anything else this week.
All right, man. I want y'all to pay attention, man. Be aware, don't be no square. Be safe. We'll be back on with Outlaw Radio tomorrow. I got a special guest coming in. It's gonna be a damn good time. Shout out to everybody who supported the show on Monday. I can't even say enough about the support we get from the people. And I would say just hold on because it's a lot more to come. I ain't dead, and this ain't gonna stop until I'm gone, right? Like so, and them kids say, "Oh, my soul," right? Because I talked about last night on the show. The one thing about Black Milwaukee is we don't have a soul. The soul of our city is gone. I remember living here and we had a soul. Shit mattered to us. We wanted to try to get some solidarity. We wanted to try to make things happen. And then all of a sudden this crack thing came in and kind of destroyed everything in its path. And we've never really recovered from it. So we have to do better, man. We got to do better as a community. We got to do better in serving our youth. A lot of us got to get back in the game. Shout out to Joy Phillips, my big homeboy. I see you watching. Appreciate the support, family. But I'm telling y'all right now, I'm gonna get back into doing my part. As soon as my back is strengthened back up to the way it should be, I'm gonna get right back on the sideline and start coaching again. And I would encourage anybody who has something that they can do for our youth to do it. And you'd be surprised, a lot of these kids just want structure and consistency. Now, not all of them. There's some that you can't reach all the time, but there's a lot of them who will respond. And you know that. We've seen that in some of the coaching jobs we did in the past. That's one thing about us as a staff, Coach Greer, myself, Mike G, the Mosley brothers. We took every program we ever touched and built it up and took them to the playoffs and created success there. And that's what I'm saying. When you get the right group of individuals with the right motivation, you could do it. So that's why I got to get back on the sideline. My son keep telling me, Dad, you know you want to coach again. Dad, you can't wait to get back out there and yell at somebody again. I'm like, you know what, son? You right, man. Rock with us tomorrow night, man. Outlaw Radio is going down. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share the show, man. If people didn't get to see it, and it'll be up, like, right? So I see sometimes we get off the air. I'm like, damn, didn't nobody see the show? And then the next day it's like, oh, I see a bunch of people watched it. Doesn't matter when you catch it, man. Just catch it, right? Support your own. And it's important, man, that you don't pass judgment on people, man. Because I wasn't always the one who they predicted would finish first, right? Like there was one point when people doubted what I would be able to do. And I made the choice a long time ago as a youngster that I was going to turn it around and take control of it. And sometimes you got to teach kids how to do that. The more that I look back on it, the more that I realized that my family had prepared me to do that. So when I got my mind right, I was able to turn it around and change the narrative of it. And so a lot of us have to even just put that idea in some of our young brothers' head because they don't know that it's there. Because for whatever reason, Black masculinity is something that's not as dominant in our communities as it used to be. And we got to get back out there and teach our boys and work with our boys, man. So always remember, man, no matter what they say about you, you can't believe the hype because you may have done the things they said you did, but you're not who they say you are. I'll see y'all tomorrow night, man. Peace and love.
These niggas wishy-washy, snitchy like Tekashi. I remember back to days on money in my pocket. Now I'm styling like a rich nigga's closet. Now hear my Samuel Hill voice. What's in your wallet? I got that fire.